Muslim travel ban. The Supreme Court has sort of reinstated part of Donald Trump's latest Muslim majority country travel ban. This is a very interesting legal situation. Trumpists are freaking out as if this is some kind of amazing victory for the travel ban. You got to be really clear here. This does not mean much about whether the travel ban will ultimately be upheld or struck down when the Supreme Court hears it in October, okay? What the Supreme Court has ruled is, while we review the broader case, which will be heard in October, we're going to lift some of the preliminary injunctions and court orders which stopped implementation of the travel ban, right? This is not a decision about the legality or constitutionality of the travel ban. The court said Monday that Trump's ban on visitors from Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen can be enforced if the visitors lack a, quote, credible claim of a bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the U.S. So what that means is that for now, non-nationals from the 6 listed countries that have no bona fide relationship with a person or entity in the U.S., meaning, you know, they're tourists, they're not coming to the U.S. to study or for business, they can be blocked from entering the United States, okay? Very interesting on a few levels. Number one, what we had here was a preliminary injunction. In other words, this is an injunction that is granted before the ultimate legality or constitutionality of a law is determined. Usually, you will grant a preliminary injunction if there could be irreparable harm done by the law. There is no doubt whatsoever that there will be harm from not being able to come to the United States for some people. But the question is, will it be irreparable? I would argue yes. If you're seeking refugee status and until October, you were banned from coming to the U.S. because of this travel ban, you could get killed in the meantime because you're not granted refugee status. I believe that death is irreparable harm.
Sure. Yeah, it's also interesting how this ban has gotten so incredibly narrow over time. At first, it was Trump saying that he was going to ban all the Muslims temporarily until we can find out what's going on.
Sure.
Then it was a list of 7 countries for 90 days, then a list of 6 countries. And now with the court's new ruling, you have to have some sort of bona fide connection to family or school or work here. So, and that's also temporary. So, I mean, this is really going to be ineffectual more so than just un-American or Islamophobic.
Not only that, you mentioned the 90-day and the temporary thing. By the time the Supreme Court hears the full arguments in the fall, that 90-day period to figure out what the hell is going on, as Donald Trump said, is going to be over, right? The Supreme Court could, according to some legal experts, in October say, you know what, this was temporary and it's over. Thus, there is really nothing for us to decide. At this point, it's not really about the travel ban anymore. It's about, does the office of the president have the authority to issue this type of travel ban? Trump will call it a victory. Trumpists are already saying it's a victory. Our voicemail today relates to this. But legal experts are saying that what the Supreme Court has approved here is so limited, it's merely the removal of a preliminary injunction on some parts of version 2 of the travel ban, which was already much narrower than version 1. It's not really any kind of legal victory.
And that's why I think it's going to be so hard to enforce. If you remember Trump's first travel ban that just took effect right away, just out of the blue, people didn't really know how to respond to it. Now you're going to have lawyers dealing with customs. The ACLU is going to get involved, and this is supposed to take place starting on Thursday.
Within 72 hours of yesterday's decision, basically. And for me, the more pertinent question is, does this keep us safer? I mean, this sort of the key aspect of this entire thing, right? Does something like this keep us safer in the United States? We've already talked about how the countries listed have historically not exported terror to the United States to begin with. That's the real question that we're going to be digging into between now and the eventual Supreme Court hearing in October.